You a big Olympics guy? No, you're not.
I very much enjoy the Olympics. I think the issue is just like I don't have the time to do it.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay, all right, okay.
All right, Mr. No, you know what? You planned a vacation during the Winter Olympics. You do not care about America or international
You think that I was going to not do a vacation for the Winter Olympics?
I'm not leaving.
You know what actually sucks is I had the Olympics on the other day. That was it.
I just got big broed. Welcome to the opening bell of the NFL Stock Exchange. That's right. All of you are stuck with me today as Mr. Vacation during the Olympics. How un-American is that? Trevor, a much, much deserved break, but he'll be back literally very soon because we're at the NFL Combine next week, so the content's not going to stop. And if you missed it, of course, we already taped episode 1 of the Blue Chip Committee, our special collab series we're doing with Brett and EJ from Bootleg Football. We always do the collab mocks with them, but it's great to actually have a 4-part series that goes beyond the mock draft. So if you missed that, check it out. It's on our channel. 2 of the episodes of the 4 will be on our channel. The other 2 will be on their channel, so make sure you subscribe to both us and those guys. But today, it's just me and the man behind the glass, Tyler Cook, the chef. Chef man, say hello real quick behind the Wizard of Oz curtain.
How's it going, everybody?
There he is, and we got the Wheel of Mock Drafts, 3-round team-specific mocks that we're going to get through today, and of course, the chat's going to be rolling. I'll get to a ton of super chats, try to get to some questions, so love seeing you guys in there, and yes, we can't beat the late accusations, even though we started at 4:01. We are slowly getting better. I am wearing the 1980 Olympics jersey today from the Miracle team. This is actually, ironically, probably my second favorite one. I have the 88 one. That team stunk, but the jersey is amazing. So the 1981, a classic because, of course, they won it all. We'll see if the boys can win it this year, although Canada looks like a steam engine right now. Tell me if you've heard that before. And the U.S. will probably play Sweden, depending on how that game goes right now against Latvia in the quarterfinals tomorrow. So we'll see. But we're going to get through a ton today. Let's start with a couple super chats and then we'll get to the actual wheel because I don't want to miss too many of these. So I'm going to go right through the chat here and kind of take it back to a couple that we might have missed pre-show. D. Sauter with a really interesting one here. Can't stick around today, but what's your favorite team draft class ever? Of course, the 2017 Saints that's a very famous one because of the depth. I believe they got 5 starters out of that class. But one that is more interesting instead of the depth like the Saints had, going all the way back to 1996. This is arguably the greatest duo ever drafted in the same draft. The Ravens took Jonathan Ogden and Ray Lewis in the same draft. I'm sure there's other classes out there maybe before this, but Ogden and Ray Lewis, who there's a world you can argue both of them are the greatest players to ever play their position, being drafted back-to-back by the same team. Ogden was the 4th overall pick in the draft, which is still hilarious because I think the Jets passed on him. And then Ray Lewis, the 26th overall pick in the draft. So that was one when I saw this question, I was like, man, there's a lot of times a lot of different classes we can go through because of the depth and how many great players they got. But that one at the top is totally out of this world. I see in the chat right there from Axelron, the Bucks 95, Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp. I mean, obviously, we talk about those guys with Trevor's, allegiance to the Bucks quite a bit as well. So that's another great duo as well. So yeah, a lot of great ones. But let's get through a couple more super chats here because I don't want to fall too far behind them. CTOG Ghost, thank you for the donation. That's really nice. How about Samuel Ludwig? What's up, chump? Wanted to ask who the prospect you'd say you were most wrong about. Love the show. Y'all get me through my meetings every day. So got a lot of DM requests to do a show on, like a longer form show on draft misses. And I've been trying to tell people that I think it's probably a better summer project to do it right. This time of year, everybody's so invested in the now. And in summer, we can kind of breathe and invest a lot of time into that because we miss a lot. So there's plenty to go through in the process of why. 2 that stand out to me right away And it's kind of funny, different personalities and character and stuff like that. But part of the reason both of them were misses, Josh Rosen, obviously it just feels like his heart wasn't fully in football. And he was a giant bust. Like there's no way around it. When you watch Rosen's tape and you look at his ability as a pocket passer, there was so much to like there. But just a guy that, when you hear those concerns in college and around the draft, you need to be careful with how much you kind of invest into that. But I think he's a guy that truly, just like if you're the quarterback of a team, you need to be 120% in. And I think teams always were scared about that with Rosen. And then another one where this is just a total, like, this is not a talent miss. This is another guy that just didn't have it in terms of preparation in a different kind of light. Ja'Kai Polite was just a disaster at the NFL level. Now, the thing with Polite is he fell on a lot of boards because everybody kind of got wind of this. He didn't test well, and it was clearly because of preparation. If you watch the tape, he was not a bad athlete. And I'm sure he didn't really do well in front of teams and interviews. And that's why he fell in the draft and barely lasted in the NFL. So there's a lot of really a lot of interesting ones to go through for different reasons why. And then I see in the chat right there from Matt Curran, like Penix not helping either. The problem with Penix was, and this isn't an excuse, this is part of the process, and I think Michael Penix could still turn this thing around. Injured players in college get injured a lot in the NFL. And Penix now, your worst fear kind of comes to light here, where he's now injured in the NFL. So whether it's injury, character, and then sometimes athleticism, and the players fail for all different kinds of reasons. But I think once again, it would be really interesting to go into players that we were wrong about. It'd be interesting to look at a couple players that we were right about against consensus and be like, this was a red flag to me, and it's maybe changed my process. All right, let's get right into a mock draft wheel here, because Trevor's really been carrying it on these lately. I've seen the evil wheel, Mr. Chef. I'm not going to lie, it has me a little nervous here, but let's give this one a spin right out of the gate. I actually forget which teams we have left on the board. Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, and Chiefs back to back in this draft. Super interesting. Of course, the Saints right there as well. Chargers and Lions a little deeper in the draft, and then the evil wheel, which I'm sure will grow like a virus in this, unfortunately. Let's give this thing a spin.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it arguably didn't grow. I mean, you know what I'm saying, So
yeah, it's an illusion. A lot of people are saying
it is just really illusion.
It's actually about your perception. We'll see if I feel like the chat will probably agree with you.
Yeah.
Evil wheel, please, right away, from Bryce Henry. All right, let's give this a spin. And I mean, come on, can't be evil wheel in the first one, which is really just the Packers. We know that by now. So, all right, I would really like the Bengals here, and I might get my wish. Saints would be good too. All right.
Yeah.
3-round mock draft for the Saints, who, not just saying this because it just landed on them. I think this team is one of the more fun ones to do mock drafts and offseason stuff for, because Tyler Shuck looked great down the stretch at the end of last year. We had him on Radio Row for Fantasy Football Happy Hour at Super Bowl last week. I'm losing track of what week is what already. And he was awesome. Like, you really get it when you sit down with Tyler Shuck of just how pro-ready he was, because he played a lot of college football and he played at a lot of different places. And, it's why the Saints looked so much better when he got in there. By the way, I see I'm going to get to Super Chats. Don't worry. Kev, I'm not going to miss them. So I'm sorry about your Chargers. But yeah, the Saints are a really interesting team in the top 10, and we're going to do the 3 rounds here. So let's get right into it, Mr. Chef. And we're going to start with, obviously what is really interesting here, picking 8th overall, because there's a lot of premium talent in this draft that's going to fall to there. And in this situation, it's no surprise to see Mendoza go 1, Ruben Bain, Arvell Reese, Jeremiah Love, who could be a potential pick for the Saints, off the board. Carnell Tate, another guy. They've done pretty well with their last Ohio State wide receiver. Makai Lemon. So all 3 wide receivers go in the top 6. It is amazing the variance of opinions on the wide receivers in this draft, because I know that I believe Daniel Jeremiah had them fall. Both notably Carnell Tate fell to 16, Jordan Tyson fell to 19. And then sometimes people will have them just fly off the board. And in this situation with the simulator, I don't think all 3 are going to go in the top 6. But you can only play with the hand you're dealt, which means wide receiver is now off the board here for the Saints. Jeremiah Love here is now off the... Oh, Tyson is still there. That's my bad. So just Tate and Lemon go off the board. So Tyson's there. And I like Jordan Tyson a lot. And I really like Jordan Tyson for this team. But Caleb Downs sitting there as well. Like I want to feel the pulse right now of Saints fans and know how they feel about Caleb Downs, because I feel like everybody gets so hung up in he's a great player, but can you take a safety in the top 4 to 5 picks? I feel like all bets are off after the top 5, where it's like, we got Caleb Downs at 8. I mean, that would be something to me where I don't really think I can pass on Downs here. And I've seen a lot of people respond, like saying about college players that get hurt in college, get hurt in the NFL. And yes, that is a conversation with Tyson. You need to be comfortable with the injuries, and are they bad luck or are they a pattern? And that's a huge part of this process as well. I'm going to take Caleb Downs here, and I'll explain my process. I think that as much as I love Jordan Tyson, you have your number 1 wide receiver that's already formed a great, connection with Tyler Shuck and Chris Olave. Can I find a number 2 on day 2 of this draft? I would really hope so. So it's tough to pass on Tyson, but Downs, man, like you got an elite player on the back end of your defense that makes... The thing with Downs at safety is he makes all 3 levels of your defense better, which is so unique for a safety. His ability to come downhill, blow up screens, defend the run, then match up with tight ends in the middle of the field, play as, kind of that single high or even in a shell, 2-shell kind of defense. He could really do everything. So, and I see... So Mr. Narwhal said Vele played well also. I believe it had to be Shuck. I don't think we had any other Saints in Radio Row. Spoke insanely highly of Vele, where I was like, we're a fantasy show, so we always kind of perk up when a player talks up a non-star player. So I think the Saints have big expectations for Devon Vele next year, which isn't the reason I'm passing on Tyson, but it's something as a Saints fan that probably makes you feel a little better about this situation. So Caleb Downs, who might be my number 1 player in this draft, I'm not 100% sure yet, goes to the Saints at 8. And boy, you got to feel amazing about that. All right, 42. Let's go to the wide receivers here, Mr. Chef, because I feel like this is where the run kind of gets interesting. I'm sure a lot of them just went, and that's okay because a lot of them are still left. Chris Bell, who you're going to get on an injury discount rate and is more of that straight line speed, muscled up, almost like a compact DK Metcalf style player. Omar Cooper Jr., who there's going to be people in this draft, in the media space that think he's a top 20-ish level player, and then there's going to be people that probably have him slotted more over here, who I really like Omar Cooper Jr. Like, I'm going to be fully transparent here. He's the leader in the clubhouse for this pick. I kind of want to look through the chat, and, a lot of Omar Cooper, some Chris Bell. Of course, Chris Bell did play with Tyler Shuck in college. Shuck's last year at Louisville. That's when Chris Bell really popped on tape. It was like, oh, they have something in this guy. We do so much Omar Cooper combo discourse and mock drafting here. Let's take Chris Bell to paint a different picture and reunite Tyler Shuck and Chris Bell. And now with Kellen Moore and Shuck's arm, it's bombs away in this offense. I mean, Bell's ability to win down the field, Olave's ability to win down the field. For a tight end, Juwan Johnson, like he can stress the seam. This becomes a really interesting passing attack very quickly, especially as this offensive line starts to gel together. So I'm loving where this mock has gone so far. Caleb Downs, Chris Bell on an injury discount at 42. I think he would have went 25 to 35 without the injury. Falls here a little bit. So one more pick, our 3rd rounder at 73. This feels like a little bit more... You could get a little more outside the box here because we solved what we think is wide receiver 2. We got a significant playmaker on defense. And yes, the simulator needs to update the Trinidad Chambliss as of now. Once again, it feels like never-ending saga is not in the draft. So thinking running back in this spot, thinking corner in this spot. Let's take a look at the corners first, Mr. Chef, and see what we got here. Xavier Scott, not in this draft anymore, just for everybody out there keeping track. I don't love how that corner board went. As you could see, that's a run. Where did they come off? Oh, Dalen Everett just went. It kind of shows, like, in the top 70, the corners are going to go. Chandler Rivers, a smaller corner. I don't want to just take a corner to take a corner. There's things I really like about Julian Neal and Will Lee. I still have to watch more of Traden Stukes and more of Devin Moore as we're going to reevaluate the corners in this spot. Igbinosun, I don't love his lack of foot speed in coverage sometimes. He gets a little grabby and defaults back to that. I see some of the chat is bringing up pass rusher, edge pass rusher. Let's take a look at running backs next. Sorry, pulled a curveball, pulled a Trevor on you there, Chef. Oh, Jonah Coleman's still there. I'm not passing on Jonah Coleman. Like everybody knows, I'm taking Jonah Coleman. The only reason he wouldn't be here is because of breakaway speed. And I do not care about breakaway speed for the running back in this offense. I want somebody that's going to create yards after contact, catch the ball, pass protect. He's so creative in the open field. This is Estime Erasure. Yeah, Estime looked good against the Jets at the end of the year. Maybe he could stick to that roster. A lot of people want offensive line, which, before we take Coleman, let's just look at what's available at guard here. Sam Hecht's a really good center. Billy Schroth is not going to be there at 128. He's going to go in the top potential 60 picks. Now, because it's our mock draft, and this is the time to do this before after the combine, all the fun gets zapped away. We could take him here, Mr. Chef, before it's over and the simulator gets the full update. And I do not. The only reason he will not be picked in the top 75 or top 60 picks is because of injuries. But talent and athleticism, I don't think that he'll have a chance to make it here. It would have to be like really bad medicals. So I'm still going to take Jonah Coleman to be a little realistic, although I don't know if Jonah's there either, but people have to fall. But I get why people are clamoring for guard. Let's go with Jonah Coleman. Wrap this thing up. It's going to be hard to top this the rest of the day for a team that I'm really excited to watch in 2026. I like the vibes around this team. I love an overachiever, which they were last year. And Caleb Downs, Chris Bell, Jonah Coleman. Let's completely, be sound on the back end, and then let's score points. Nice draft. All right. Let's take a little break between the next one and get to a couple super chats, because I know that we've missed a lot here. Oh boy, they are flying. They are flying. All right, Kev. I know we missed this one last time, so thank you. If the Chargers do not get selected today on this darn wheel, I am raging and will make the eviler wheel look like a snooze fest. Don't let me down today, ankle biters. All right, I love a good threat of a super chat. That's amazing. Okay, Stacks God. When Boston loses, America wins. More seriously, is there a position/position group that you feel more conviction about when scouting? I feel pretty good about wide receiver year in and year out. I definitely feel like I've had less misses in that area for the last 5 years. Feel pretty good about corner, too. Like, corner is one, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this one out, but I was looking the other day, watching the Super Bowl. I was like, where did I have Witherspoon and Gonzalez? And they were my 5th and 6th players in the draft. And it's like, all right, like, let's write that one down. Feel good about that one. So corner's been on a decent run. 3 Guys, 6 Balls, NFL podcast. Thank you for the donation. Appreciate you guys. Tyler Benintende, what position group's getting scouted next? There's rumors on the streets that it's going to be safety. But there's also rumors on the streets that I've been watching offensive tackles all week. So we will see. We are due for safety because it's a strong class. Tater's World, Chiefs trade McDuffie for to who? That's interesting. I don't know. Who would pay that kind of premium for a corner? And I don't know. That's a weird one. I'd have to really think on that. That's a hard to answer in the moment. I mean, the Chiefs need to be keeping their good players. Tie-dye. In Madden, I always move the Jets to Toronto because having two teams share a stadium is unprofessional and weak. I agree. If the Jets were to relocate, would you still be a fan or move to a new team? That's a great question. I haven't thought about because New York doesn't lose franchises unless you want to go back to the Brooklyn Dodgers. You know how the Dodgers and the Giants in baseball ended up out west, but it's the market here is so insane that like the Jets are truly horrendous. And then you Google and realize they're worth over $9 million. So $9 billion. So to answer the question, moving to Toronto, wouldn't love that. Got to be honest. Nothing against Toronto. It would just be, that'd be pretty strange. Especially the NFL's been hesitant to be in Canada. Would I still be a fan or would I move to? Well, the problem for me is what I do with the Jets now is I work for their television affiliate. And you need to technically live where the team is to work for their television affiliate that covers them pre and post game. So that would be a big hit. I would still support them. Like we would still do Badlands, which the Badlands name would go out the window because it's a name local to Jersey. And we'd still do Badlands. We'd still support the team, but a lot of things would change. Yeah. I don't think New York franchises, though. Like you could almost make the argument that New York, they have two hockey teams because the Devils are in Jersey, so 3 in the tri-state. You have the Jets and the Giants. I mean, you have the Mets and the Yankees. Like New York could always use more, but they're not going to lose the team. Interesting question though. It really gets you thinking. Like, how would you feel if your team left? Because I feel like a lot of Rams fans went through this in the most difficult way. St. Louis, I haven't been to St. Louis, but I get the vibes. It's a pretty, like, very faithful sports town. The Blues fans, the Cardinals fans, where I feel like they felt like they got the rug pulled out from under them when they lost the Rams. And I feel like a lot of people didn't go with them. And when you're kind of gut punched like that, I don't blame you. Same with San Diego fans with the Chargers, although I feel like Chargers fans might have followed more because it's like, I don't know, maybe it was different. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm curious. That's a really, really tricky one. All right, drop out Chris. Hey, Salon or Slodgers. What player do you think could successfully switch from offense to defense or vice versa? Excluding cornerbacks, wide receivers, because that feels obvious. Alfred Collins, QB1. Wow, a lot in that one. Which player could switch from offense to defense? I feel like Josiah Trotter could play fullback. Does that count? I mean, he has some of the most punishing displays of physicality in this entire draft. So there's one for you. Who is freaky enough to, well, not wide receiver to corner? Yeah, that's tricky. And it's always interesting when you realize the guys that, like Lorenzo Styles, actually did do this switch after he transferred from Notre Dame to Ohio State. So there's a couple guys in this class that have already made the move. Andrew, thank you for the super chat. DJ having Malachi Fields in round 1 of the Bills. You guys know I love Malachi Fields. I was not ready for a round 1 Malachi Fields talk. Super interesting. Although this happened with my guy, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. So you really, really like a guy, and then you're challenged, like, yeah, how much you like him now? Like, you going to stick with him for round 1? That's a different kind of investment. But good for Malachi Fields. Been super underappreciated in this draft. Still think he's a day 2 player. Vinny, hey, Connor, in your eyes from this point on, what is the path to the most successful outcome to the Jets 2026 season? You need a superstar at 2. You need a really, really good starter at 16. Does Ty Simpson make it at 33 and ends up being more in the Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck mold than a bust? And then you, like, in these boxes, you need to check at least one front 7 player, another wide receiver. You got to franchise tag Brees. You got to re-sign AVT. That's the path. It's not an instant flip of the switch, but That's at least the path. All right, Tyler Benintendi. When you have to give away hats, make a wheel with every Discord member on it. My last name is pronounced like Andrew Benintendi, the baseball player. That makes it easier. Yeah, we will get to the hat giveaway. I promise. That'd be really fun to have a wheel with like. What do you think of that, Chef? Could we have like 2,000 names on the wheel? You won't mind making that, right?
1,000,000%. We can do that. Arguably, that's already in the works. But
okay, is that something that like for all the bad that comes with AI, is that something that AI could actually help us with?
Kind of. Not really.
Not really.
It's more just manual. Yeah.
Yeah, we're okay. All right, you're the true hero. Let's get to another mock draft here.
Hell yeah.
Time for the wheel, which I can't wait to see the parasite known as the evil wheel. Let's see its growth. Oh yeah, no, it didn't grow at all.
No, it doesn't.
That's good.
Yeah. It's the same size as the rest of them, so we're good.
That's good. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Would really like the Chiefs here or the Bengals.
No evil will.
No evil will. It's Lions. Never
Lions fans have been clamoring for a mock draft.
Let's serve the good people then.
Let's serve them.
That's Albiamus said it would have been funnier to have it shrink for Connor. That actually would have been great. So, Lions fans, I want to give them a little love here. Usually when teams graduate from being absolute garbage, the sad thing about being in the draft industry is you do lose the constant chatter from that fan base. It doesn't mean that they just like don't listen to your show or like, but you hear like when you release a mock draft, for instance, when a team's been really good, you don't hear as much from the fans anymore because they're used to winning and they're focused on free agency, and then they'll get to the draft. Shout out to the Lions fans and I know this season was a disappointment, but no matter how good the Lions are, their fans are still so die hard with the NFL draft. They got opinions on every potential pick. They have fits at what kind of edge pass rusher they want, or what kind of corner. So I just want to give a little love to the Lions fans because it's cool when you don't go anywhere. Like you're in it like true and through. So let's jump into it. Pick 17 for the Lions, basically smack in the middle of this draft. And I know we've done a lot of edge pass rusher for them in this spot. Let's kind of see how the board went, of course, to kind of set the table here. No surprises when you see, Downs, Carnell Tate, and Mekhi Lemon again go in the top 10. Sonny Styles off the board. Both the top corners gone. Peter Woods, Mauingoa, Jordan Tyson, Avion Terrell, who I don't really love in the top 15, and Cassius Howell to the Jets at 16. So Lions at 17. Keldrick Falk, not shockingly, can be a popular pick here. Man. Vengo Iwane, yeah, that's, I know they've invested a little at guard, but he's just so good. You walk away from round one feeling so good in that spot, getting a true guard. I see some talk, understandably, for Spencer Fano, who I don't think is going to make it to 17. Now, the thing with Fano is there's a chance he really does play tackle at the next level. He started at left tackle his first year, and in the last 2 years, he's been their right tackle because Lomu plays on the left. I don't know how I don't take him here. This is one of the best values. He has no business being outside the top 15. Better chance Spencer Fano goes in the top 5 than outside the top 15. Most likely right in the middle, but you get what I'm saying. I think that you now have a future franchise tackle here when you already have one in Sewell. And you don't have to worry about the left and right aspect here because he has played both. I know he's more recently played right, but that makes you feel a little better. So Spencer Fano, the no-brainer pick here at 17 for the Lions. Man, I just finished his tape. Another rewatch. Loved him this summer. Loved him. And kept up with him throughout the season. But then I was kind of final eval a couple days ago. And he's just... what I don't love about Utah is that besides the Texas Tech guys, they didn't really play good pass rushers. And they didn't play great in that game. But he wasn't poor in that game. I think the grade is a little harsh to him. I didn't think he was that bad, but like when you talk about the athleticism, the mean streak in the run game, there's a lot there. I love him over Summer. In my opinion, really hasn't changed on him. Just wish there was more higher pedigree matchups throughout the season for him and Lomu. So who I think both can go in the first round. All right, the next pick here, Spencer Fano to the Lions. Lions, we only have their second rounder, right? Their third rounder was traded, I believe. Yeah, there it is right there. So we go offensive line in the first round. I like that everybody in the chat kind of is doing like the who won't be there and what. And Halsey says, yeah, like you all knew Shador would go in round 5. Listen, there's always surprises in the NFL draft, which is why you do need to be careful with the will they, won't they kind of situation. It's a little easier for first rounders. Like there was a legit combo, like is Shador going to go in the first round? So it's a little easier with guys that you know are going in the first, but that's the theater of the draft, man. It's I see Teddy saying Romello here. I just think he's too small for them. Romello height is very undersized on the, as an edge pass rusher, and I don't think those aren't updated from the Senior Bowl. I want to make sure that, to be fair to him, we get the Senior Bowl. So Senior Bowl 6'2", 3/8", 234. So that's up from his spring weight. He was under 230 pounds in his spring weight. So 234. I just don't think they're going to play a defensive end that's 234 pounds in the second round. It's different when you take him like the 4th, the 5th. So I'm not going to take Romello height here just because I don't really see the fit. Let's look at the edge pass rush group though, Mr. Chef, because I feel like we have something to work with here. All right, so it looks like Gabe Akis and Zion Young are both gone. That's a gut punch. Yeah, I don't love these guys for them. Let's look at corner. Wouldn't mind seeing. So all the, and oh yeah, Anzalone's going to leave in free agency. So we will look at linebacker Keontae Scott. Man, he's so fun to watch. That is a Dan Campbell player all the way through. Same with Pons. Now it's weird because they paid DJ Reed a smaller outside corner. Do you then draft one? But also, it doesn't matter because you probably cut Reed after next year anyway. So, all right. Pons is definitely on the radar. Let's look at linebacker. And I see Bork said, I know 230 is too small, but what about 235 from Josephs? Yeah, that's why I didn't like the edge group. It was all small edge players. Josiah Trotter. Just a hammer and a nail kind of player. And I see a lot of shout out for safety. So let's look at safety as well, especially with the injuries they've had there too. Kamari Ramsey, Wheatley. Bud Clark was so good in Mobile. This is where not having that third rounder sucks because I would have liked one of these guys a lot in the third. What's the Lions cap situation? Because the safety free agency class is actually solid. Yeah, they're in the red. They'll make space, but they're not going to go nuts. I think I'm going to take Kamari Ramsey just to give them that help on the back end. Where I like Trotter better as a player, but it's not bad value. It's just this is really attacking a need. Like if they can't sign a safety because they're cap limitations, you really do need to upgrade that spot here. And Ramsey's played a lot of football at a pretty high level now. I'm fascinated to go through the safety rankings when we get to that full eval. But watching both of the USC guys this year, like, were pretty promising to me. So you can't believe this is what's amazing about the mock wheel. Everybody wants a safety, and then people like Ramsey, and then you get Nora Lifestyle. So we reached for a safety in the second round, got it. I don't know what to do. You can't make everybody happy. So I also don't think Ramsey's like this massive reach, by the way. We're picking, 50th here? That's not crazy at all. So I'm going to take Kamari Ramsey. Yes, it's a little bit of a pick for need, but he's a really good player at a spot that they're going to need help at. Now, I do like Pons and Trotter a little better on the big board. overall. So 2-player draft for the Lions. Getting Spencer Fano at 17 is wild. And then Mike McCarthy hated the Ramsey pick. He gave it a D. So B draft. All right, got to take care of some business before we do the third mock draft and more super chats. Our game plan of the week is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. My game plan of the week, get ready for the NFL Combine. Going to be there Monday to Saturday. Going to be interviewing officially 48 prospects for NBC this year. I cannot wait. Sims and I are going to be live multiple times. Trevor and I are going to be doing stuff. The coaches and GMs all speak on Tuesday. So packing for the NFL Combine. Can't wait to sit down and talk to these guys. Just like every team win starts with a great game plan, your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect you and your family so you can focus on winning today, knowing tomorrow is covered, whether you're starting out, building your dynasty, or looking to lock in a long-term protection. Their coverage options are designed to match your game plan. Visit westernsouthern.com/PFF to get your free life quote and start building your financial game plan today. Western and Southern, built to win, backed by over 130 years of helping people protect what matters most. There it is.
Beautiful, isn't it?
The wheel was good to me so far, Chef.
Yeah, the wheel, it giveth, it taketh. I feel like it taketh a lot from Trevor and it giveth a lot to you. I think
I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
Like, is there... we know the wheel has a mind of its own.
Right.
It's getting smarter by the week.
Yeah.
I feel like this kind of says a lot about my co-host.
Yeah, maybe Trevor just has bad karma. I don't know what he's doing in his free time, but
it makes you wonder.
It does.
Oh man. All right. Let's you know what? Let's do a couple super chats.
Ooh, good point.
And then let's do the final wheel.
Sounds
All
good.
right, this one from Bryce. Always appreciate the super chats, Bryce. Do you have a prediction for who's going to get big paychecks in free agency that most people won't be expecting? A dark horse Brinks truck candidate. Jaquan Brisker, C count. I feel like he's been very up and down for Chicago. So I think a team will pay a guy like that, thinking that like the green light has come on with him late. Romeo Doubs. Do people look at him getting lost in the shuffle of the Green Bay wide receiver room and being like, man, we think Doubs is going to be a lot better with a more featured role as our number 2, where in Green Bay, it was just this carousel of guys. So that's one on each side of the ball, but it's a great question because you always have that like, now the reporting of free agents is very, you need to be careful because it's like, he got what? And then you read the contract and it's like, oh, it's a 1-year deal that could be, there's no guaranteed money in years 2, 3, 4, and 5. So, all right, Matty B all day. Lions trading down to late first and picking up a second, third rounder feels like the move. Thoughts? It's always the move. The problem is, what is the other team coming up for? That's always the issue in those scenarios. But I like what you're thinking. If Spencer Fano falls and a team wants to come up and get him, that makes a lot of sense. Sean Marthis, if you're a true San Diegan, is that what it is? San Diegan? You despise LA and the people who live there. Most of us picked new teams when the Chargers left. Part of that like makes me sad, and then part of that it's like, hell yeah, brother. Like, I've never thought about that in my life, having to pick a new team after rooting for one team for 30 years. I don't, it would depend how it went down. If I felt like shafted by ownership and the league, I'd probably pick a new team. But for a lot of work reasons and loyalty reasons, it would feel weird. I wonder how many people just stopped supporting the team, still love football, but just are like borderline agnostic. Is that weird? Like, Chef, would you find that? I think that's one of the more like pathways I would probably take. I would love football, but if I felt like I can no longer root for this team because they screwed me, I don't know if I'd have the heart to be like, now I'm a diehard, Bengals fan.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think once you pick your team, you're that's your team.
It's like you're stuck.
Like imagine rooting for like the Chargers next year. That wouldn't even feel real.
No.
You have to buy a Justin Herbert jersey.
Well, wouldn't it, like, deep down within me, I'd be like, this isn't, I don't feel anything.
No, yeah, you wouldn't feel anything. That's the other thing too, is like having a team, it makes you like, it excites you. It brings you back to like thinking about, oh, when I was a kid rooting for this team. You know what I mean? Like you don't have any of those memories. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think my most likely scenario is I would not root for any specific team anymore. I'd probably root for storylines and true love of the game. Yeah. All right, let's do one more spin here. Seen a lot of people saying that's what they're like in the chat. They like Red Zone. So I get it. There's a lot of people that just like fantasy football and Red Zone. Let's do a little spinnerooski here.
All right, here we go. Same old wheel, same old spins.
Yeah, interesting. Real even.
Yeah.
There's no chance it goes on the evil wheel.
Are you serious? You've been donating to charity, haven't you?
No, I have good karma. That's the difference.
Go. Oh, that is a difference.
I hold doors for old people. There it is.
Well,
Buffalo
I hold doors
Bills.
for everyone, so it probably would.
No, only old people.
Oh, okay. Well,
in New York, we don't do. No, I'm just kidding. Oh man, I feel like overly confident. I was not getting. The best part is the next one Trevor does. The first spin's going to be the evil wheel.
Oh, undoubtedly.
And the second spin.
And the second spin, yeah, exactly.
So, all right, Buffalo Bills. Not gonna lie, I think it's gonna be a banger of an episode. Saints, Lions, Bills. It almost feels like dirty that Trevor's not on it. I'm just plucking the great offseason teams.
Yeah, that's how it felt when he got the Packers and the evil wheel in the same episode. I was like, it's kind of unfair that Connor's not here to see this, but you know.
Well, I watched and laughed. It's
all you can do.
Absolute content. Buffalo Bills, final one. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Pretty sick that almost 800 people are watching with me right now. Like just sitting here, not alone because I have the chef with me, but shout out to the Addicts, man. You guys never disappoint for a show that, I mean, chef, we kind of just like fired it up. We're like, we don't want the channel to just be sitting all week. Tuesday, 4 o'clock.
No, Trevor didn't even know this was going to happen.
He texted me today, and he texted me today and was like, hey, just checking in on vacation, like not home yet, but you want to do safeties on like as soon as I'm back? And I was like, hi, we're doing a show today, brother. Like, don't you worry. We're holding this down. You guys always hold it down for me, so I wanted to kind of step it up here. So the Buffalo Bills, who I don't think there's a team you will hear their first round pick talked about more as trade fodder than them. Whether it's A.J. Brown, Brian Thomas Jr., whoever it may be. But we don't know who and who's going to be available and what that looks like, so we are going to mock draft for them with the assumption they do make this pick. Now, what's tough about this for the Bills is, what do they need? A number one wide receiver. What's usually gone by 26? The guy's projected as number one wide receivers. So, tricky team. And there it is. And I like Concepcion a lot. But let me cook here for a second. Can we restart the mock?
I mean, it's your show, so of course we can restart the mock.
If we can restart the mock,
we can definitely restart the mock.
I want to see what it would cost for me to move up for one of the big three wide receivers.
Ooh, to move up.
Yeah. Now, it might be very expensive. So we have Bills. Now, it feels like Tate and Lemon have been going in the top 8 consistently. So Buffalo's draft capital right now, as it stands, is standard. 26, 60, 91. Let's go to who would be looking to move back and get more picks? The Dolphins. They might blow it up this year. I know it's a division rival, but at the end of the day, like if you're the Dolphins, if you're rebuilding this year, who cares? Just get the draft picks. You don't think you're beating Josh Allen this year anyway. So let's go try to get to 11. All right, so the value of 11 is 358. The value of 26 is 223. So about 130 point difference. So this would probably cost us a 2 and a 3. But let's offer the 2027 2, better draft, and this year's 3. Do they accept this? I think it's close. Okay. Now let's see if this actually works. Go to wide receiver. It did. Jordan Tyson, who I thought would fall to that spot, fell. So let's take Jordan Tyson at 11, who I think, if the medicals check out, is the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. Josh Allen to Jordan Tyson. It's not a one-pick Bills mock. It's raining Ben, because I traded a future 2 because I want the 2 this year. And if you're Miami, that might make more sense for you if next year's a better draft and there's still more variance with this pick, where right now there's no variance. The pick is slotted at 60. So let's play the lotto and hope it's better than 60, and the draft is better anyway. And you're building for the future. Anyways, absolute cinema. Thank you. Thank you, Uncle Phil. I think Tyler, did I kind of cook here?
1,000,000% you chefed it up. The chef can give you the Michelin star.
There we go. That's
exactly
real.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
That's real approval. So, and I rolled the dice because we had to do the trade before the draft, but starting to get a feel for the simulator, it's become obsessed with Lemon and Tate, and kind of sits on Tyson, which is fair because there's a lot of questions for the combine medically, but talent. All right. So,
you know what you are, Connor?
What's that?
You're like the kid in school who's not smart. He's just really good at taking tests. Because you've got this simulator down to an absolute science. It's crazy.
That was like the best backhanded compliment I've ever gotten. and it's like very real. I did graduate college with honors, but it's not because I'm like natural. Like, I went to business school. I didn't go to be like a, space scientist or a doctor. Yeah. It's because, yes, I can retain. I cover the NFL draft for a living. I can retain information. I don't develop great new information. I'm not coming up with like cures for diseases or how to build rocket ships. I'm just retaining info. So I can't even be mad because I think you're spot on. So pick 60 here for the Bills. Really, really curious to see what the Bills fans kind of want to do here, because now you got your number 1 wide receiver. I think this has to be a pick on the defensive side of the ball. And they have a lot of young players on this defense and a lot of old players that they're going to be moving on from. What do you feel good about projecting forward? And then what do you kind of pull up a red flag and go like, man, we're going to be weak in this spot. This front seven was a problem last year. Seeing some love for Derek Moore, for Trotter. Bosa was on a 1-year deal, and I just wouldn't trust him to stay healthy. All right, let's. So Derek Moore's there. Trotter's there. Joseph's. Big Citrus. Although I wonder if they like their young defensive tackles they took in the last draft and kind of hope like, okay, we think they're going to take a jump next year where we're going to wait on that. Let's go to the edge group, Mr. Chef, and see what we could do here. This might be Derek Moore, which Derek Moore's a hard player to figure out because I'll pull up my notes on him. Like Senior Bowl week, he was very, very impressive. It felt like his entire time at Michigan, he had really nice moments, but wasn't always the most consistent. And what I mean by that is because you see the fat grade as a whole, but you look at the slower start to the season and you look at the last 2 or 3 games, didn't really do much. I mean, his pass rush win rate was insane. 23.4% 2024, 19.8% 2025. I think when he's got tackles on an island, like he shows quick feet, he could shoot gaps, he could win inside when he gets skinny. He's got over 20 sacks the last 3 seasons. Now you look, what's funny to me is on tape, I didn't see any pop or power in his hands against linemen. What does he do against Markel Bell at the Senior Bowl? Just to kind of like show, hey, I actually do it. He runs right through his face, right through him. So like, is that an area where he thinks he has more to prove and develop? So, and I'd like to see him get stronger on the edge against the run, but for the Bills here, I care about him getting after the quarterback and us closing out games with a lead if I'm the Bills, if I'm operating as the Bills GM. So I'm going to go with Derek Moore here and kind of put him in a more, specific pass rush role as a rookie. Use your quickness off the ball. Let's keep developing some power in your hands. Get after the quarterback on an island when you have tackles on an island. And let's see if we can get anything out of you as a 3-down player, maybe year 2, 3, or 4, not year 1. So Derek Moore and Jordan Tyson for the Bills. Definitely one of the more unique drafts we've done because it took some creativity and it took some risk. But if I'm a Bills fan, I'm with Mike McCarthy, giving this an A-. Like, absolute cinema? You tell me. So, all right, let's close out with, Jim Leonard, man. Mr. Sonification says, Jim Leonard will cook with this man. Hey, I'll scout for Jim Leonard. Ravens, Jets, Browns legend. Let's close out with some super chats here, and thank you so much for everybody that tuned in today. You guys are awesome. It's been a lot of fun. It's always great to be on the feed with you guys. Mr. Sonification, Connor, a little birdie said Linderbaum is gone. Wants left tackle money. Who's the Ravens' best option to replace him, draft or otherwise, with Ledford in now? That's a good question. I mean, I brought up Sam Hecht earlier on the show from Kansas State. He had a really good week at the Senior Bowl. That might be like a day 2 center that quietly is just a really good player that people kind of caught up on that week in Mobile. How does Connor Lew's medicals go? Because he looked like a top 40 pick before he got hurt this year. So they have options. This center class quietly has a couple guys in it. And if you're Linderbaum, like, man, players like that, and I know he's been good. I don't know if he's been great in the NFL. I think he's been good. When good players get to free agency, man, they get paid like great players. So I kind of see it from both sides. The Ravens, they replace starters like it's nothing all the time. Linderbaum, go get an insane bag, man. He's definitely good enough to get a big payday. Eli, thank you for the super chat. How do you determine weaknesses in scouting when guys aren't doing anything egregiously bad, just maybe not making splash plays consistently? So this is one that I think a lot of people struggle with because it feels like in scouting, I'd call it more media scouting than NFL scouting. NFL teams, though, almost overvalue this. Like being consistent and doing your job, for example, setting a hard edge against the run game. How many people on Twitter or on TikTok or on YouTube, that's like the first thing they say like when they're highlighting a guy. But an NFL coach, sometimes that's where it starts, man. Like they're like, I can't, on first and second down, I can't have we talked about Romello height. I can't have a 234-pound edge pass rusher out there because we won't make it a third down if that's the case. We'll just always be in first and second down over and over again. So for me, I've begun to value it a lot more over the last 2 to 3 years. The more stalemate kind of consistency rather than the highs and lows. Now, it's like you got to be able to get after the quarterback or you got to be able to make a play in the red zone if you're a wide receiver. Like you got to be great if you're going to be a certain slot in the draft. But I think that when you get to the 4th and 5th and 6th round, like, can I find a 2-gapping nose tackle that could play on first and second downs and goal line in the 5th round? And he plays out his rookie contract with me and gives me 40% of the snaps week in and week out. That's how you should be drafting in those slots. Not being like, well, if he's not a 12-sack guy, like you can't live in that world. So it's a really interesting question because it's something that over time you start to kind of like see the value in it more than initially. All right, Tater's World. Chiefs SBC for first round edge. Edge, running back, wide receiver. Yeah, I wonder if Bane can make it to them. I think there's a world where it happens. Doesn't have long arms, really good player, strong against the run, great effort as a pass rusher, has pass rush ability. But do people chase high-end traits where it goes Mendoza, then some combination of, Reese, Bailey, Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, Jeremiah Love? There's a world where Ruben Bain's on the Chiefs. That's kind of what comes to mind. So, Chef, did we miss any? I know we're using a new system today, so I want to make sure I get to all the super chats, but
Is that all that you see?
that's what I see on mine, but I'm going to go through the YouTube chat to make sure. But in our queue behind the scenes, we've gone through all of them, but I feel like we might have missed a couple in the chat, which I would feel bad about. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think that's all of them. That's all that I can see.
All right. Awesome. Well, we'll do 4 more minutes. We'll take this right up to 5. We'll get into some of the regular chats here today. I kind of want to poll the chat. Favorite mock draft of today to the chat. We had the Saints, who got Caleb Downs. They had 3 picks. The other mock drafts did not, so that gives them a little bit of an advantage. They had Caleb Downs highlight their draft. They got Chris Bell in the 2nd round to reunite him with Tyler Shuck. And then Jonah Coleman in the 3rd. The 2nd mock draft was the Lions, which Spencer Fano fell to them, which was pretty cool. And then Kamari Ramsey in the 2nd round to help them at safety. And then the Bills, we kind of masterminded it, traded up, got Jordan Tyson, still kept our 2nd round pick, and took Derek Moore. So I think the Bills was definitely the most chaotic. The Saints was probably the most practical, like adult, nuts and bolts kinds of draft. Bills was definitely cinema, in my opinion. So, all right, guys. Trevor and I will be back. I don't have the exact date for you guys, of course, with the chef, Mr. Chef, thank you today. Great stuff today. Like, really high-end performance by you and the wheel.
Thanks.
The wheel sparing me because of all the good deeds I've done.
Yeah, that was very nice of the wheel.
Yes.
Honestly, I wish it was more chaotic, but, that's good for you, so it's fine.
It's good for me. We will be at the Combine next week. We don't know what content we will do on the ground at the Combine. It's a really chaotic week. We do know that position rankings coming up. We're going to have offensive line again soon. We're definitely going to have safeties really soon because I don't even think we did safeties over summer. And this safety class is really, really good, and it's deep. So we're going to have safeties on the feed soon. We typically always try to do a mock draft sometime after the Combine, so that will be sprinkled in. Like I said, we still have 3 more episodes of the Blue Chip Committee, our collab series with Brett and EJ. The first one, if you missed it, it's on our feed. I believe the next one will be on their feed. The first one was on undervalued and overvalued traits, and we each went around the horn and picked an offensive and defensive player to break down. So a lot of fun with that. We love the response with the bootleg guys, so make sure you're subscribing. Please subscribe to the NFL Stock Exchange channel. So when we fire up stuff like this, whether one of us is here and one of us isn't, you don't miss it. You get involved in the chat. Join the Discord because the Discord is absolutely insane. We have team channels talking about the draft, whatever team you like. If you're like one of those people that your team left your city and you don't root for a team, well, the general channel will do it for you as well for the NFL draft. So subscribe to NFL Stock Exchange. Join our Discord. Of course, subscribe to the Bootleg guys. We loved our collab over there. The hats, yes, we'll figure out the hats as soon as Trevor is back. Thank you so much to everybody in the chat. I had a lot of fun with you guys today. And we'll talk to you soon. NFL Combine next week.